We all have that one friend with whom we talk about business ideas over coffee, while playing a game, or just hanging out.
So that's where, in one of those meetings, Bhavin and I were discussing upon this idea of peer-to-peer lending.
Most of the time, these ideas never go beyond conversation.
We realized this is something that's not so novice, but then something that really needed some innovation.
These founders built a peer-to-peer lending platform that solves a real problem, helping people get loans when bank says no.
There was this pregnant woman who was looking to renovate a house for her upcoming baby. That was really inspiring to see that we were able to fulfill a person's dream that may or may not have been achievable had platform like Lending Club not existed at that time.
Today, their platform has 3.5 crore registered users, has disbursed over 17,000 crore, and they are now moving towards their IPO.
We already have a user base of 3.5 crore customers. Now we can do many more things with this customer base, but that dilutes our focus as well.
In this episode, we talk about the mindset, the decision, and the execution that took them there.
We go through the storm. We don't bypass it. You don't know. You need to learn how to build your sturdy boat and just penetrate through the storm. That's how you'll get to see a clearer sky.
And if you are a doer, someone with a business idea, or simply curious about how P2P lending really works, this conversation is for you.
One of our philosophy when we started was it will take at least 15 years for you to build a really big and good business. And why? Because
this episode is strengthened by Hama Steel and insured by Himalayan Everest Insurance.
Hi Bhavin, hi Dipesh.
Hi.
So welcome to the podcast. And most importantly, thank you so much for letting me use the studio. Like,
most welcome.
We believe in supporting entrepreneurs.
awesome. So I've been traveling to India for a week now. So I was in Bangalore for a week, and then I'm here. So taking a lot of good conversation back home, because I think most of our followers are young people, not only for entrepreneurship. Hopefully, I think we'll talk tons of ideas that people can pick it up, execute, and get inspired and become a doer. So let's start. I think I'm quite curious about how did you guys both met, and I found while I was doing the research, I found football played a big role. So can we talk about it? I'm like, maybe
This time I'm leaving it to Dipesh. All right. So there is this practice that we do every Sunday at 6 a.m. We come together in a football ground, right? Sunday morning at 6 a.m. Just imagine, right? People wake up after the sunrise. We wake up at 5, freshen up, be ready with our kit, reach the football ground at 6, and play a match with different professionals from across Mumbai. Some of them are bankers, some of them are working with VC fund, etc., etc. And we play for 1.5 hours as tough rivals, enjoy the game to the fullest, right? And then go back, sit for coffee, breakfast, something in different cafes. And that's where we discuss anything and everything, be it politics, be it business ideas, be it just talking about, ranting about the situation of the country, whatever it is, right? It's the way the usual Sunday morning voice talks, right? So that's where, in one of those meetings, Bhavin and I were discussing upon this idea of peer-to-peer lending. And we realized this is something that's not so novice, but then something that really needed some innovation. Right? P2P lending has been there since ages. Every Asian economy, right, has grown because of lending from one person to another. Right? What it needed was some flavor of a better structuring, a better regulations, a better formal structuring. So that's where we thought, let's come together, let's build a platform, let's try to organize this unstructured economy. So yeah, that's how the idea started. Would you want to add something to this?
No, that's quite well. So football was the starting point, and that still goes on. Now it has gone beyond just our Sunday morning plays. It is now in our office as well. So every week, we 20-25 players come together, we play football, and it's not just about football, but it is more about a team game. So I think we teamed up because we were playing a team game there, and that's where we saw the opportunity together and started working on this. And now 11 years down the line, we still feel that, okay, it's a new idea. it's a new day where we have to solve these problems and take it to the users.
I don't know which did I read, but I read somewhere like it's much better to partner with people who are good with sportsmanship. I mean, like that reflects the overall nature of how they are outside of that particular field. Like,
Right. Yeah, because I feel sports teaches you how to take the success as well as defeat. So either you win or defeat, both has its own flavors, and you need to know when to be happy or when to bend down.
and even within a same team, if you play for yourself or if you play for the team.
Correct, exactly. So one is acceptance of win, loss, acceptance of somebody guiding you when you are unable to play in a right way. I think those are the virtues which you develop when you are playing in a team. And second is definitely if you are a star, it's absolutely okay. But you can't play within the team and make team win, then your stardom is not useful for that particular team. You might be able to perform for somebody else, but not for that team, right? And we saw it even if we take example of football or even cricket for that matter, like Seki, that in India cricket is the most followed sports. For Indian team, we always had star players, at least couple of them at any point in time, but still India was never performing that well. Reason could be the same, that you have stars but you don't make a star team, right? And one of the team which I follow is Manu, or Dipesh follows Chelsea in football Premier League. I think we have seen that situation in all this club football also. That sometimes you get so enthusiastic that okay, club has bought this player, oh wow, so it's like oh Ronaldo is coming, but that doesn't end up making team good. Ronaldo individually is amazing player, right? And for some club it worked really well. For some club it would not work. So to make the team working, a star has to get adjusted to other people around. They may not be star, or they may be star. I think teamwork teaches you how to adapt, how to get adjusted to the culture, and that's how Dipesh and I started working, and that's how even today Lene Club team works. That a lot of time we put people in completely uncomfortable situation, and that is where how they respond to the situation, adjust themselves, and really grow together.
So it's been almost 10 years, a decade,
Yeah, more than 10 years
or
now.
more than 10 years. How do you, if you have to reflect back from day one to this point of time, is there any what are the what are the things that comes first in your mind? Like it's an open-ended question to both of you. And I have a follow-up question once you answer that. Like even for now, like we can do an experiment. Just reflect upon the 10 years. What are a few top things that comes to your mind?
I think first comes when a product launch, Insta Money, is coming up in my mind. Second was when we made our first mobile app. I think we were thinking how to do it because we did have software engineers, and then Dipesh took up the charge and he designed the full app. He coded it and he launched it in 2-3 months time period. That's coming up on top of the mind. Second is one of our company trip, Goa trip, is coming up in my mind. And yeah, these are the two things about you, man.
So earlier, thanks Bhavin to that. Earlier we were building a lot of product in house. We thought instead of building products in the form of app, what if we could productize our APIs? So we launched API as product and integrated with some of the big names in the industry, right? Google Pay, Phone Pay, Pay, etc. Right? So I think that was one of the landmark moment for us. Uh, Others, of course, fun moments with a lot of them there. Right? Bhavin said about a Goa trip. That was our first.
I could see a couple of pictures.
Yeah, you already saw those. Right? I give you a good tour of the office. Right. So that was our first achievement where we as a team achieved some milestone together and went to Goa for celebration. And the ecstasy that we could see in the faces of a team was just remarkable, just memorable. So that's why it keeps on reflecting. There was one moment wherein a lender back in 2016, when we just started our business and we didn't know whether this could fly off well or not, right? We had our conviction, but getting an additional validation did help us boost our morale, right? There was a lender who was really impressed by the way the product was delivering value, and he sent a cake.
Okay.
They were, I mean, Bhavin and I were believing But to make other 20 people believe in this, that cake did a wonder, right? Doesn't matter what is the cake or what is the size of it, but the value that it brought to the table, that everybody in that room realized that, okay, we are building something amazing for those people in need out there. That was one of the landmark moment. And there's one more moment that I vividly recall. Uh, in the early days, we used to visit our customers and we used to validate whether this person is loan worthy or credit worthy or not. Right? There's one video wherein Bhavin has talked about our journey, and he's talked specifically about one woman who was looking to get a loan. Right? There was this pregnant woman who was looking to renovate a house for upcoming baby, and that was really inspiring to see that we were able to fulfill a person's dream that may or may not have been achievable had a platform like Lending Club not existed at that time. She was able to get a small loan of 10,000 rupees at that time, or 20,000. I don't know. It was very small ticket size loan, and there was no financial institutions out there to give that loan to that lady. Right? We were so fortunate that we were able to facilitate or fulfill her dream through our platform. She maintained a very nice history and she brought in a lot of references, right? So yeah.
I think Bhavin sir has talked about this particular incident on the podcast.
That is one of the classic example of why you require new type of challenger institutions in the market. Because there are so many areas available in the market which are not being addressed by the existing set of companies which are operating in whether you talked about lending or any other area. And that's why the challenger people needs to come. They need to question the status quo, come up with a new solution, and then say, why are we not doing this?
And it's best when this new space is as big as this, right? Because again, quoting to your podcast, you mentioned how under that 40 crore of population,
Right.
how there is a whole 80 crore of population not being addressed with the existing financial system, and here we are trying to.
Yes, absolutely. And see, looking at the population of India, we have so many pockets. Some people are not being addressed for the investment needs. Some people are not being addressed for their capital requirement need. Some people are not being addressed for their basic financial literacy needs. A lot of people are not being addressed for their insurance needs. So there are so many pockets exist, and I'm not just talking about tier 3, 4 or a rural area. I'm talking about even urban areas. Like around 40-45% of our customer base is from tier 1 and the metro cities. In these areas also, a lot of times somebody is looking for 10-15,000 rupees loans, they don't get it. So a belief that in urban area like Mumbai or Delhi or Bangalore, any bank will give you a loan or any person can get a loan, that's a myth, right? So if in urban areas such kind of pockets are available, then if you go beyond metro or tier 1 cities, there are so many pockets available. The only challenge there is people don't trust you immediately. You have to build the trust, you have to exist in this market for a longer duration. And hence, one of our philosophy when we started was it will take at least 15 years for you to build a really big and good business. And why? Because in financial services business, it's a time which makes you trustworthy player in the industry. Right, overnight anybody comes, whatever money you throw in the market, people may come to the transaction, but it will not be because of trust. It could be because of some kind of promotion, it could be some kind of push, but not because of trust. So we feel such kind of pockets exist, and there is enough juice available in the financial services market in India, but you have to stay invested, you have to stay on the pitch, you have to keep batting slowly, gradually, Rahul Dravid ki tarah. Uh, खेलते जाओ. Even if you have to play 100 balls, you don't make one try, it's okay. For next 10 balls, you put 10 fours and make 40 runs, right? So your strike rate will come to 25-30, which is average of any test cricket. But I'm saying that is where the opportunity is there, but you have to put a lot of efforts. You have to stay invested for a very long period of time, and hence I see that as and when we spend more and more time, like if you talk about 2.5 years back, the kind of trust we had from our customers, the kind of market we were capturing was very different than what we are today. It's much better. In next 2 years, it will be even much better. Right? So opportunities are there, and we believe that if you continue understanding and addressing the need of people, uh, India is a great market.
Reflecting back for last 10 years, how have you seen Indian credit consumer being changing? And what roles do you think we as a London have specifically played to push that change, if you know?
I think biggest change would be expectation or in terms of timelines. 10 years, 12 years back when we were working on the concept, even if you disburse loan after 5 days, 7 days, it was very obvious thing. It's okay, I have applied, I'll get in 5, 10 days time period. Today it is like after Indians are using UPI so widely, the expectation has completely changed. That everything you expect is okay. I click the button, I apply. Okay, now money should be credited to my account. So that expectation or demand from the consumer side has changed in a very big way. Whether it is approved or rejected, but the expectation of result is immediate. I feel that is one of the biggest shift which I would say. So you have different.
Yeah, I think the general expectation that you don't need to meet a person to get a loan, right? You can actually you just have to have their interest or alliance meet one another. So with the digitization of entire credit, this is what we are able to achieve. Somebody sitting behind the screen is able to apply for a loan, complete the entire KYC, entire validation or AML experience, everything digitally, get a loan into their account digitally. This is something that we are able to achieve in the course of last 10 years. This is one. Second, when you say loan, it need not be that big ticket size loan of let's say 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs. Loan can be as small as a sachet. Right? We used to give or we even give loan as low as 2,000 rupees. Right? Our average ticket size at one point of time when we started Insta Money used to be about 7 8,000. Today it's somewhere around 14 15,000. Right? So just imagine the kind of wonders you can do with such small ticket size loans. Right? It makes it short tenure. It makes it highly churning. It makes it pretty helpful and useful for a customer who is looking to build a credit history. And just because you don't have a credit history does not mean you'll not be eligible for one. This is something that we've changed over the course of
That's steady. That's a loop, no? I mean, like, because you don't have it, so you don't get it. And then you don't have it and you don't get it.
Correct. Yeah. Somebody needs to pick it up. As I said that opportunity pockets exist. Somebody needs to pick it up, address it, make it better and better over the period of time.
There's a saying back home, I mean, like, our parents or, I mean, like, mentors used to say, grow like a bamboo. So, like, what happens in bamboo is, like, for first couple of years, from 5 6 years, you don't really grow, right? The growth is not seen. And then after 5 years, you grow tenfold. So, again, connecting it back to 10 years learning, do you think, like, the growth that you guys have been enjoying so far, now it's a time to expedite it. Now, in couple of years, it would not be a, I mean, like, how do I say it? The growth velocity that we'll be experiencing, it would be different. Can you see that? Can you predict that? Are you see that happening? Especially with all these new policies coming up.
So we have already witnessed that sometimes back. So it's like from Earth we took off from the Earth. We reached to let's say a distance like Moon at little slow pace. We took 4 5 years, and from Moon to Mars we reached like in 1.5 2 years time period and huge numbers, like few hundred crore worth of loans every month. But we had to come back from Mars to Earth again for the maintenance. Now the changes happen in terms of policy and the larger regulatory spectrum. I think now again we have to pop after the maintenance phase, and we are again going towards March, and I think this time we'll possibly cross the uh, all the planets and to another galaxy.
How far are we from Pluto?
I think still we are very far. We have not yet reached to Mars also, what we were at the earlier bit, but I think this time the base is much better. The quality of rocket is much higher, so we are not expecting any maintenance issue, and that's where the I mean industry cannot be made only by players. It's a joint role of industry players, consumers, and the regulators. I think, yeah, that is how the ecosystem is made. The good part is this time all the three parties are involved very much. Earlier, it was more of a companies who were trying to figure out solution and pushing it to the consumer. The consumer were also not involved that much, but this time each party is involved very much, and hence I feel all the three engines are firing in a right way, and hence the journey will be better. Definitely, still we may have some kind of asteroid storm coming in between. That's okay. That's something unexpected.
I like how we take this conversation.
Star Wars.
Well, I saw the Elon Musk picture no on the wall, so I think I'm good. I'm inspired.
No, absolutely. See, products and companies are built on visions. They don't exist till the time you think about it. So I think this is also the comparison is like more of a visionary. Okay, it's easy to visualize for somebody. Otherwise, it's not easy for somebody to understand. Okay, what we were doing earlier, now where we are, and from where here where we go. But I feel it's not just about the opportunity in India. In India, definitely there is a huge opportunity for P2P lending or small ticket size loan. But I feel this opportunity exists in a lot of other countries who are middle income countries like India, or they are in the growth phase, or they are like emerging economies. And those are, I would compare those with different planets, right? So probably India is Earth, then you go to another planet, then you go to another planet and try to capture all of that, because the opportunity exists. Now the challenge of each market could be different, but the challenge of each economy could be different. Somewhere it is regulated, somewhere it is not regulated. But as I said, that somebody needs to stay put up. If you are there for longer term, definitely you make much larger. And I think even if you compare US data, sometimes if you have time, you may make a different podcast on this point, right? The number of companies which used to get listed 20 25 years back in US and what they are listed today are very less. One of the reason which came out, there are many factors, but one of the reason was at that point in time people were more patient. The founders were more patient, investors were more patient, that okay, we list, we wait for a few years to get the results from the public market. Even if stock is not doing so well, it's okay, there's not too much of pressure. But today the pressure is too much from everybody's side, and hence you become impatient when things are not moving north, or when it's moving south. You suddenly start thinking, "Arey, it's not working, let's change the course of action." And that's where the biggest catch is. I feel if somebody doesn't change the course of ship immediately, just at looking at some kind of storm coming in, continue going into the direction, probably they'll be able to do it. And the data says the same thing. That earlier, why so many companies used to survive and thrive, and after 5 10 years they will start growing like anything, just because they stay invested, they stay put up in what they are doing. Today, because people change the course correction very very fast, we very fondly call it as a pivot. And at least in lending club, we generally don't believe in pivot. Very
Don't use that term at all.
we don't use that term at all, because there is nothing like pivot. It's like you are changing certain features of the product. It is required because either consumer don't like its evolution to you, that's its evolution, right? But pivoting or changing the business every 6 months doesn't give any result, because you are not consistent on your effort and you are not trying to solve the problem.
Or maybe you're not even clear about what's the problem you're solving.
True. And you will never reach to the depth where you actually find the root cause, unless and until you keep focusing. And this is also not 100% foolproof strategy. You may still go wrong. After 2 years you will realize that okay, what we were doing for last 2 years, it's not working out, but that's okay. 1 out of 3 or 4 things, it will happen. But again, going back to the previous conversation, is staying put up is very very important. And the data suggested the same. If you study any other country's economy also, you will find the similar kind of output compared to what it used to happen 15 20 years back and what is happening today.
I've been watching a couple of your podcasts, and mentioned this multiple times. How chaos comes with an opportunity.
Yeah.
Right, and it feels like you are secretly talking with the universe to conspire things in your favor.
Very nice.
This August 16, whatever has came out, and then I correct me if I'm wrong. I was told that all of your competitors have paused their operation, and it's only us in the market still operating. Right. What did we do right to I mean, like we're just saying right now, it's not a responsibility of one player, but then the players, market, authorities coming together and create an ecosystem. It seems like on our end, it's just us now taking a weight of whole clear scheme. So what I'm trying to ask you is, what did we do right? That even after all this chaos, it's coming out as a one of the biggest opportunity for us.
So I think two things to it. One is before the chaos was coming in, we were getting early warning signals from the regulator. So we started implementing those, detecting those early warning signals and started changing whatever was required to change. So one was we were already prepared for possible changes in the future. Second is we are not afraid of any kind of chaos. So we go in front of the chaos, or we get inside the storm strong headed. The way buffaloes go and face the problems. I think buffalo is the only animal which goes and face the and rhino. So we behave like that. So okay, these are the things. Okay, let's operate that way. Why we need to think? Oh my God, what has happened? It has changed everything. Now we cannot operate and on. We are here to solve the problems. We have to figure out. Now I'm sure, yeah, that like for this podcast also, there was no prior plan, or plan was there, but it was not communicated to our team who shoots this. But yesterday night it was said, it was communicated to them and said, okay, figure out a solution. So they have to go strong headed. Okay, now this is a problem. Let's solve it. Rather than thinking, okay, what has happened? We are working for Diwali campaigns till 8 or 9 p.m. in the night, and again 8:30 we have to reach and shoot this, right? So that is how our attitude is, and that starts from both of us and goes down in the team as well. So okay, कभी कभी ज़्यादा बारिश हो जाती है, so roads are full of flood, then you can't drive your car. You might have to walk down, or you might have to swim, or you might have to take a boat. So you have three options. Choose base suitable options as per the situation, and that's where the differentiation point comes in.
How challenging was it for you from a tech perspective with all these policy changes?
Tech is never a challenge for us. Okay. Wow. Right. And that's what Bhavin was trying to connotate when he was saying that, thanks to our team that buckled up late night. When they knew about our this session late night, they made sure that they will reach early in the morning and keep the studio ready. Right. Same goes for our tech team or any other team for that matter. Right. We just need to know what is to be done. The team is ready there. And now with the advancement of AI, we have got more arsenals in our cavalry to make sure that the deliverables are finest when it goes out there. So tech is never a challenge.
I was expecting more technical answers on what did we do right and what our competitors did wrong that they had to pause the operation.
There's no technical answers to that. The right answer is we heard what they were trying to signal. We interpreted the signal in the right way. Right? You see those fancy movies wherein there is an alien coming to attack the world and destroy the world, right? And there's one country that always detects, hey, this is this kind of alien, and I need to release this kind of counter attack, to make sure that it does not hit the earth. We just did that. Imagine us as that kind of country.
I think Technica, if you are expecting that any of us will give you answer that, okay, we figured out this technology or this feature and that saved us. I think that is not how any tech company solve the problem. The solution is always very, very simple and straightforward thing. For example, one of the change in the regulation or the modified regulation was that every lender has to approve the loan at the time of giving it. Earlier, it used to happen in a very different way. Now, the challenge is how to solve this problem. And I think we had 2, 3, 4 different iterations before we reached to the flow, which was acceptable to the regulator. Now, there is no technicality about this. It is about how your product team is figuring out uh, uh, how to get this done, which will be as per the regulation, as per the language, and as per the practicality of the matter, and how the regulations team sees it. Right? It's a product challenge, right? Or it's a visualization challenge. That what is written and what is visualized and what is implemented. So it is never a technology or coding is never a challenge. You can code anything and everything, which you can visualize and you can think about. Unless and until you are able to think about it, you will never be able to try it. Like right now, we are working on one AI product. When Dipesh was traveling, I was trying to give more thoughts around it, and we both were chit chatting that okay, let's. I mean, there is so much of scope of doing it, but only thing which was lacking was concentration from our side, and possibly we did not visualize it earlier the way we are visualizing it right now. Right? The moment you visualize it right, you can do it. You look at any movie, whoever is making it, right? The way director will visualize that this is how the scene should be made, or this is how my actor should act. It will be better and better. So unless and until they visualize it, you cannot do it. A couple of days back, I was looking at some short content on this Bahubali. It was showing the way director Rajamouli was acting in front of their actual actors, right? And in front of Prabhas and that were Lal Dev and all. And the comparison was shown how Rajamouli was showing the actors and how the actors actually did it. It was identical. And in some scenes, Rajamouli had even better expressions than the actual actors. Because we have not seen, we feel this is perfect. But if you see this, you will see, oh, it's like 95% of what actually it was shown to them, right? But if Rajamouli cannot visualize it, this boy will not be able to act it, right? So it goes same way for any companies like us, that what is written in the regulation or what you want to do, you have to visualize it. You have to first have that app in your mind. This is how it will work. Couple of days back, two, not even couple of day before yesterday, we are working on one of our upcoming product logo, and I was really not happy. And couple of modifications came from the brand team, and I rejected all. They were also little frustrated. But I was not able to visualize it how it should be. And then Dipesh came up with the solution and he showed, and I said, yeah, this is a thing. This is what I wanted. This is how it should be. This is how customers will be able to visualize it. So everything first gets formatted in your mind or in your vision, and then get implemented in terms of product, in terms of feature, or in terms of what customer says it. So I think it's a challenge on the visualization front and not on the coding front. So a lot of time people have a misunderstanding that you're a technology company, you must be having more challenge of how to code it. No, absolutely not. The coding is the last part. Yeah.
Again, going back to one of your podcasts, you mentioned how the idea of Linden came because you could see it was much difficult for bigger banks to process smaller loans, and because the cost of processing is same, it does not they are not really focused on smaller ticket size of credit. But I think fast forward 2025, a lot of things have changed. The tech we knew 3 years back and post AI tech is completely different, right? I mean, like, who would have thought a lot of things that we are taking granted for already? Because I think the other day I did a podcast and we were talking about how LLM is the commodity now. I mean, like, who would have thought, right? So do you think, again, connecting one more context back home, back in Nepal, we have seen how fintech revolution started by the wallet. We got used to a lot of interesting features on wallet, and at that point of time, bank was really not active. But now I've shifted personally. If I have to see my behavior, I've shifted back to the my bag. Now I don't really load money on my wallet because it does not make sense. Whatever wallet lets me do, I do it from the bank itself, right? So where I'm trying to get is uh, because now with technology, AI, a lot of things has become cheaper, easier, and less technical. Do you think the reason still stay relevant about why about how bank might not be able to process a smaller ticket size loan and why there is a need for something like us? I'm not. So basically, I just want to. Do you see bank as a competitors? Do you see they coming into this side because now things might be different with the new
I
technology?
think that is how the market works. The challenger companies will come up with new age solution or different type of solutions. They implement it at a smaller scale. They see the early result. They start scaling it up. When the larger player looks at it, they start adapting it if the implementation is easier. So, like in India, for example, today when somebody is going for a home loan or somebody is going for larger amount of business loan, the amount of data earlier used to get collected from the customer was enormous. Today it is like almost 90% of the data is collected digitally. It's like even the income tax data, the banks are collecting directly from the income tax portal. You just log into the portal and the data is directly retrieved by the bank and they are using it. Right? So, see, you cannot stop the evolution. Uh, Sometimes some of your product can be eaten away by the larger institutions, but I think that's how things will work. Now here the companies like us have to focus on what makes us different than what the larger institutions are, and then probably we can stay relevant. Like one of the product segment where we operate, the small ticket size person loan, where our LSP business Instamani is there, is our speciality is how to assess borrower within such a short time frame when the requirement of the loan is so small, and then the collection. Now combining these two, we have created a recipe which is very difficult to be copied. So it is like just to simplify for you and your viewer also, like for so many decades or centuries, we have all the food ingredients in the market: haldi, mirchi, salt, pepper, paneer, everything is there, right? But still, you will find very few places which really makes a tasty food out of it, and you really enjoy.
Innovative foods.
Innovative, right, which everybody enjoys, right? Every city will have some 10 or 12 places where everybody wants to visit it Sunday because they have specialized in making a good food out of these ingredients. All these ingredients are often available to everyone, but not everybody will be able to do it. And sometimes you come up with some different kind of dosa. I recently came to know about one dosa chain. Bene, yeah, Rameshwaram is old now. Bene dosa of Mumbai, right? And now I studied in Davangiri, place called Davangiri, nearby that, and the Bene dosa was from there. And here they have opened it, and it's crazy. They are crazily capturing the market, huge footfall.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody will argue that, oh, Bane dosa belongs to the Davangiri, why somebody is making it here? It's an open market. Somebody will definitely use it because somebody from Davangiri cannot operate here or nobody thought about it. Somebody is taking the opportunity here. So, in open market, anybody can come and use the recipe which you are using. It is about how complex the problem is and how easily you and your team is able to solve it out. Now, for example, a bank or larger lending company can easily replicate the model which we are following, but the combination of technology experience of the consumer, then our AI model to choose the borrowers, then our AI models to follow up with the customer for repayments, and the collection agents. These four things brings makes the recipe perfect. Now, if somebody has to copy, they have to copy all these four ingredients, and that is where the differentiation comes.
Okay, my counter question would be: do you guys see Linden Club becoming a bank?
Probably.
Okay.
Maybe a couple of years we'll think of it, whether we want to get into that direction or not. Right now, I think whatever business lines we are operating, we see ourselves as a platform business. So, and if you ask me personally, bank is also a platform business. That you have created a mechanism where the depositors are coming to you, giving you deposit, and you are passing on the deposit amounts to the borrowers. Only difference between the P2P and bank is in P2P, the depositor is taking action of whom to give the loan, and in bank, depositor is giving the wholesome money to the bank, and then bank is taking the decision. Right. So it's a new age banking or different way of banking or quasi banking. So bank is also platform, P2P is also platform, our LSP is also platform, and couple of other business lines which we operate, those are also platform. At this moment, we are more focused on adding few more platform businesses to our kitty before we even think into that direction. If we have larger consumer base, then probably it will be a good idea to get into that direction and becoming a digital platform kind of bank.
A neobank.
Neo bank is little different concept, but yes, neo bank the way they have envisaged using technology, right? So some bank which is completely track driven using technology as its core focus area, and then serving the both side of customers. But I think we are a couple of years away from getting into direction either that way or not.
It's crazy, I mean, like, how does the technology changing, and there is the lines between players of same ecosystem is getting blurred, and each player wants to take a bigger pie from the other players. And like we have seen in the global companies as well, like chip companies are trying to be a software full stack company. Software companies have become is trying to become a chip companies, and seems like that footprint is being followed in almost every other industry.
True, that's true. But I think at the same time, everybody should look at what not to do as well. I think constantly what we keep thinking is not just about what to do, but also about what not to do. That let's be very clear about what we don't want to do. That opportunity is immense, and there are so many things are possible. We already have a user base of 3.5 crore customers. Now we can do lot many more things with this customer base, but that dilutes our focus as well. So remaining focused to your core base, continue growing the business at the same time. You keep adding more services for the consumer.
Do you have created any principles or metrics where you use that to check, okay, this idea seems to be a great idea, but because it does not belongs to our first principle or doesn't belong to our metrics, we will not go towards it.
Many times.
What's
Many times. Like very off lately, a few months back, we started doing some experiments around cross selling some products to our customers. So many years we did not do it. Initially, we wanted to do it in 2022 start, but then we thought it's not the right time, and let's be very focused to what we are offering to our customers. That time, I think it was a right call because one, customers were not expecting it. Second, we saw so many apps coming into the market offering 10 different things to the same consumers getting shut down over the period of time. And third, probably we were not ready from our technology stack as well. I think we needed to build more scalable technology and much stable platform, which now we have. So it's easy to replicate those components to offer new services also. Yeah.
There's like what are you excited about in the post AI world? I mean, like from a pure tech perspective.
There's this popular saying that AI should do all the mundane work and I should be doing the creative work and not the other way around.
Okay.
Right? So the other way around is getting quite popular these days. But we are still focused on driving a lot of mundane or repetitive or those mechanical work that humans in any setup do to transform it to AI. Right? Couple of moments ago, Bhavin talked about the branding or the logo creation of one of our upcoming product. Right? So that's something I could tell my designer team to work on, right? And I could communicate n number of ideas, human to human. I would say something, the person would understand something else, and there will be a lot of back and forth. I just used an AI and said, "Hey, this is what I want." It just created a flash of seconds. And I was really impressed by the work it had done. And I showed him, hey, this is what it should be capturing. Right? The logo that we created captured all the essence of the product that we're trying to deliver. Right. So with that, we are heavily invested in AI and driving two visions inside our organization: AI for Lending Club and AI from Lending Club. In the first vision, AI for Lending Club, we're trying to imbibe AI as a practice, just like the way people wake up and brush the teeth, and get ready, do your exercises, if they do. AI is one of those routine that has to be each and every day in the nights, right? So I'm always proud to talk about the way our HR team uses AI. HR is the team that people think at last in terms of innovation, right? I always feel proud to talk about the way they have adopted AI in order to enrich the experience, and I'll be happy if other people copy this idea. What they've done is we were struggling a big time in order to screen candidates, match the JD that was generated versus the candidate's profile that were coming. Sometimes even the interviewers would slack off a bit because of a lot of interviews, right? We wanted to bring a change in this. So first, what we did was after the JD was created, we pushed it through AI and then created a lot of cross questions. Now our team talks about these questions with the one who's raised the requirement, right? And that's how they bring in alignment and understand what are the top three requirements that is needed in this team, and the person that you're going to hire is going to fill it, right? So this makes sure that the JD is clean and clear. Second, the profiles that HR team screen out from different portals, they put on AI, basis the GD, and they create a score. Whether this candidate has shown or may have potential to show. You know, the skill sets required, the top three skill sets required, and basis that we get a score of n number of candidates. Of course, hiding the identity. So because we have to make sure the PI data is protected. And third, the screen profiles are sent to the relevant person who is raising the requirement, and they narrow down the profiles from there. After that, the interview that we conduct is also completely using AI. We record the entire conversation between the interviewer and interviewee through AI, and the conversation is rated basis the JD and basis the interest, right, from both the parties. This is how we get to know whether the screening is in the right direction or not, right? So after the implementation of AI, we have been able to close on an average our requirements within 7 profiles, right? This is one of the use cases that we have been able to solve using AI, right?
How do you use AI for lenders and borrowers?
So that is on the second vision. So continuing to the first one, earlier it used to take about 80-90 days in order to close a requirement. Today we are able to close it within 30 days,
Okay.
right? On an average. So this, I'm proud the way the internal teams are using AI. The other one is AI from LinkedIn Club, right?
So these are native AI features that we have built from when you say
Yeah.
from
So innovation on top of the basic engine that is available out there, the generic LLMs are available out there. Again, reflecting on the conversation Bhavin talked about a couple of moments ago, we wanted to make sure that every eligible customer who is applied for a loan, right, should be able to be assessed for the credit eligibility and for the risk they possess using AI, because AI will not have biases, unnecessary biases at least. Right? AI will not have mood swings like humans. Right? Or AI will not slack off basis your day or basis the positions of suns and moons and the stars. Right? So with that, within a couple of seconds, today we're able to make entire decisioning of a customer applying for a loan using AI. We do retrospective checking in order to make sure that our decisionings are in the right directions or not. And with this decisioning, we checked what is the intent of pay of this customer and what is the capacity of paying of this customer, right? And we also have the similar kind of implementation on the collection side, wherein we say PTP and PTB, there is promise to pay, propensity to bounce, right? So all of these are done using AI. Right? So this helps us make sure that the decisioning is fast, decision is more and more robust, and more clean, directional. Right. So this is one of the use cases that we've solved using AI, And going forward, we're trying to build some more better use cases. You'll be hearing about those products very soon in your future.
Forward to that thing.
So a lot of time you don't see the products which are being used in the backend. Exactly. The products which we use for or the features or models which we have built for choosing the borrowers or setting their risk metrics or predicting who can bounce or who will pay on time, who will not pay on time. Right? These are used in the processes. So those are not visible, but definitely these are very fantastic tool to improve the efficiency across the level. Uh, what takes time is the features which are being used by consumers. And that's why it takes time. Very soon we are going to publish our first app which is built using 100% AI. There is zero manual coding which is done by any of our engineers.
Vibe coding is the better word.
Okay, yeah, correct. So that's what we are working. I think it's shaping up quite well, and that starts from the first point which Dipesh said, that it's a mindset, that how you put that as your practice, and then I think there is no limitation. You can increase your productivity like anything. I would say in pre AI or pre ChatGPT era, you were dependent on a lot of people for even come up with the right thought process to build a feature, product, or a business. Today, probably those dependencies are reducing, and after a couple of years, maybe the way AI is shaping up, and if we are able to reach to AGI kind of things, people will be replaced.
100%.
I very openly say to a lot of my team members, like few months back, I was telling my CFO, a couple of months back, I told my recruitment head that see, if you don't learn how to use this, you will be replaced in majority of your work. Still, there will be some human angle required. You will not be. And when I say this, it is not about 6 months or 1 year down the line. It is over the period of next few years, because you are not adapting what is coming up. Like in my parents' generation, the people who adapted computers or how to use technology like laptop and all, they were able to excel much better compared to who did not. And that will happen with people in this generation with probably AI, because that makes you more powerful. It's not because you want to reduce the manpower, but it's like today if my brand team is of 7-8 people, probably tomorrow, and today we manage 3 brands. Tomorrow we'll have 10 brands, and will be able to manage it with 7-8 people,
Or maybe less.
in less, or maybe in a much better way, expanding across a lot of other platforms which we are not covering today. So that is the power of practicing AI.
Exactly.
I would say it is like a pranayam or yoga. Perform it, practice it, it will give you benefit.
There is a notion, right? Like our generation is a generation which will travel from no phone to no phone. Very nice. From no phone, we didn't add a phone. We had a phone, and eventually we'll not create.
That's why you have nothing for me.
One of the things that really motivates me to keep on producing these podcasts is, there is a saying. So I keep on quoting these quotes, that the problem of an entrepreneur is not lack of ideas. The problem of an entrepreneur is abundance of ideas. It's the overwhelming amount of ideas that we have in front of us, because literally wherever there is a problem, we see opportunities, right? And even a couple of minutes before, you said that there's so many things that we have not done because it does not really fall into our line of focus. So I think this kind of conversation really excites me, because we can really talk about these ideas, and our young listeners could simply pick it up, refine it, execute it, and become a doer. Our tagline is get inspired, be a doer. So can we talk about few ideas around this domain? Now that we are the only one players operating, there must be so many other opportunities that Lendin is not going to pursue, because it does not again align with its focus. Can we talk about these ideas that we have seen, that young people from any part of the world, most probably Indian communities and Nepalese communities, are watching us? These young people can pick it up and build something on their own in this domain. Did I make sense?
In fintech domain?
No, in lending domain, let's say.
Okay. I think there are so many opportunity. Rather than lending, they can look at overall fintech.
Okay. Yep.
One of the thing which Dipesh also keeps discussing about remittance is one area where people faces a lot of challenge in terms of user experience, and so many people have tried to build the solution and still there is a huge opportunity available. Lending is always evergreen area, especially the SME or MSME lending or a bill discounting. So in bill discounting, people generally target for anchor-based bill discounting, where there is a big company like HUL or Nestle, which is an anchor, and then you are lending money to the biller of these companies. But that is just a 15-20% of the market. Still 80% of the market is made up of small companies whose billers are not very known companies, or it's not happening anchor based, which I feel is a very huge opportunity, but very few companies are even thinking about it. It's very risky to start with because you will have to first understand how this market behaves. So people are not entering. It's difficult, but if somebody can crack it, it is going to be a very big thing. Another area is in countries like India where we have central bank currencies. Probably there are so many use cases are possible where you can attach a purpose to the currency and use it only for that purpose. There are few options are already launched in countries like India. Probably
CBDC is really
CBDC, yeah. So a few banks have come up with a solution, but I feel the efficiencies will be more high, much better if startups will launch it because the agility is higher, adoption rate will be much better. So maybe young entrepreneurs can uh, adapt any of these ideas. Dipesh, give her.
I have one suggestion that is more on the environment side, right? The global focus on the ESG is quite high now because humans have been using a lot of the resources of the world pretty irresponsibly in many ways, right? So now, but in the last 10 years, the idea of not possessing but acquiring basis the need has become popular, right? We were discussing about this, I think, in one of our lunch discussion that at one point of time, every rich people used to own their house, private villa, etc., private jet, etc. Today, the concept of leasing has become so popular. Exactly, you can lease anything and everything out there, right? The huge palaces out there have become five-star hotel wherein the king live in one room and everything else is eased out, right? As they say, right? What a human need is a 4x4 bed. Anything beyond that is reflects the size of their ego, right? So instead of possessing a lot of things, there are there are ways to build financial models, right? Kind of financial models and lease, be it your land, be it your house, anything and everything out there. I think the young entrepreneurs, in future, can build models around leasing your environmental resources so that you make the proper utilization of the environment rather than exploiting it heavy.
You mean like override everything?
Commoditize everything, yeah.
Yeah, that could be a right way of.
What do you think about the policies? How rigid is policy in India? And maybe you can also add a context in terms of Nepal, if you compare it with Western correspondence.
You can add a little follow up to this. I think I would not call it rigid. The very purpose of policy is to guardrail the ecosystem that is growing on the basis of the same, right? If policies or if regulations are not in place, there could be a lot of external influences that would end up sabotaging the budding ideas inside an economy, right? So policies and guardrails are always required. There were so many and there's so many things that were happening in India at one point of time in the digital platforms, right? But then the government took a conscious call to restrict certain kind of platforms so that right kind of contents are delivered to right kind of people because people consume content digitally. Right? And now there are more initiatives going towards the same. Even for financial models, at one point of time, or the lending models, at one point of time, anyone and everyone could lend. But regulators took conscious steps towards making sure that only registered entities or regulated entities should be allowed to lend and not everybody should be allowed to do so because regulated entities come into the purview of regulation and make sure that abided by the rules prescribed by the government of India for the larger benefit of the country, right? So I think regulators here are more proactive and more action oriented to make sure that the interest of the innovators are protected, interest of the country is protected, interest of the people of the country is protected. As opposed to that, in Nepal, be it political interest or I don't know, whatever be it, right? Innovation a lot, but then restricted by the necessary policy out there. Now the government is taking a lot of good initiatives. I heard that the finance minister decided to create a transparent platform to show how people's tax are being utilized.
Yeah.
Correct. So these kind of initiatives takers were missing in the past. If something like this keeps on happening, I think the country, for the size, will be able to evolve much faster, both in terms of innovation and in terms of the right use of these kind of innovations.
I think only addition there is that in countries like US, Europe, Western economies, things are already stable in terms of financial markets. So they already have basic requirements in place, and they are prepared to cater to the new requirement much easily. Whereas in emerging economies or I would say the country which is below average income per capita, they have not addressed even the current requirements. So when any new innovation comes in, they are not equipped to handle it properly.
Do you think in this time of the age, things has to go linear like we were mentioning? I mean, like first solve this and go solve that and solve that. Like, does it really have to follow a linear?
That is how all the I would say the reserve banks of any country does, right? The only difference is because in the developed countries things are stable. When you look at from their lenses, you will always feel that you are not doing enough. But the government or the reserve banks of the country always have a limitation of how much they can do in one go. So they will do something, little bit of it. They wait for the market to respond and see the reaction of the consumers and the participants of the market. If they feel okay, some more correction is needed, then they take some more action.
So do you think this is anti innovation? I mean, like even let's take an example of when you grow a kid, right? When they're on the early stage, we don't put so many societal restriction on them, and we start scrutinizing once they grow. The societal expectation grows when you come to a different age. So what I'm trying to tell you is, when things are on a very old primitive age, they should be more freedom given, and only when they grow, and only when we start to realize that their growth might hamper the societal norms, and then you start putting scrutiny. Whereas in our part of the world, it happens in opposite direction. You start to put in more scrutiny in the early phase, and the results, it does not really get its wings.
I think no, it's not happening that way. If you look at, let's say, some larger economies of Southeast Asia, India, Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia, if we look at digital lending norms or P2P lending norms, the companies came first, they started operating, then some regulation came, regulators observed it for a few years, they came up with the revision in the regulations, and then things become even much better and better, right?
So it's always the technology taking a lead. And
Yeah, so that is how it has been happening. Now, if you ask me that there is a possible other way, possibly yes, but nobody is ready to take up the risk. Maybe the regulators or the government doesn't think that way. The classic example, just to understand this in correct way, like we all always look at the Western way of education, that they do not have burden, kids do not feel burden of the education. So definitely it's a right way. But which of the emerging economy is able to adapt it within 5 years time period? No, you cannot. If you change it overnight, probably the repercussion of that, or the way your bureaucracy or the way your workforce is made up, will suddenly disrupt. So you do it in a slowly, gradually way. If it of just about India, in last 15-20 years, there is a lot of changes happen in education, but still it is not nearby to how the Western education system is there, or what our Vedic education system was there. We are not even nearby of either of this, right? Now, if you say, let's disrupt it and do it, but that's not how the governments or regulators look at it, so they cannot do it because that thought process is not made up like that. Yes, somebody should experiment it and see it. So it is happening the way you are also narrating it, that first there is a leeway, then a basic regulations comes, then they observe it, then they come up with stricter regulation. They should, in some area they should implement, okay, on the very first day bring stricter one and see what happens. In some area they should do, okay, let's, we'll not do it, operate the way you want to operate, but those will be very bold experiment for any regulator.
I'll just add a small part to this. If we see, there are no if-else regulations. There are guardrails. Right? You took a corollary of growing a child. When you take a child to a play area, you just define a fence. Say, "Okay, you're supposed to play in this." You don't care how the child plays. You let the child build a sand castle, or you let the child throw balls around, right? Or you let the child climb up the stairs. You just define this is the area you play. That's exactly how regulators do. They don't say, "Ki, hey, if you do this, then you'll not be allowed to do that. If you do that, then you'll not be allowed to do that." They don't say that. They say that this is the periphery where you have to play. It's up to you on how you innovate. And that's exactly how the innovation happens.
Now suddenly the parent will realize that kid is eating the sand. I know kid now for next 7 days the kid will be ill. Now let me take the kid outside. So either they will take the kid outside or they will just take the sand out. Now it depends on that particular situation, how the parent will take a call.
And I think this conversation are more relevant in countries like India and Nepal, where the youth are. It's a very young country, right? And like the average age is like probably one of the biggest asset this economy has. It's the youth and the age that we have. Yeah. Has it ever happens to you in? Actually, I was expecting this answer when I asked you about reflecting 10 years. Can you talk about those few events in your 10 years plus years of time where you felt like this is not the industry. I'm gonna leave.
No.
No?
Never.
Okay. That was a very short answer.
Because
Why we are here.
you heard one of the corollary, right? Or yeah, wherein Bhavin said that we go through the storm. We don't bypass it. You don't know how the storm will change the course. And it's an open sea. Wherever you maneuver your boat. You need to learn how to build your sturdy boat and just penetrate through the storm. That's how you'll get to see a clearer sky.
We then help our audience build up principles where, I mean, like, like the life of an entrepreneur, it might work in a year, 2 year, a decade or two. There are stories where people have persevered for multiple decades and finally made it out, right? Mm-hmm. Help our audience build these principles where they can use, okay, how do we actually, this might sound like a two question, but it's one. How do we actually feel that whatever we're pursuing, whatever direction we're going is right? Because I think not being able to also, I'll not use a pivot word, not being also able to evolve is what kills a lot of startup and entrepreneurs, right? So how can we build that one simple principles which we can follow, make sure that we're not going against a dead end wall? Are you getting me?
I think results will be the matrix. Like if every couple of years you are not able to grow significantly, then probably it's a question mark. But if you keep questioning yourself every 3 months or 6 months that, okay, it's not going right, it's not a right way. And that is where I feel the problem comes up in the mind of founders also. So I would say judge yourself on over the period of time of few years and not few months time period, because there are always lull period. We have also seen a lot of lull period like this, that for 6 months nothing will happen, for 1 year nothing will happen. Today the situation might be different because now the team size is larger, so in some or the other area or some or the other businesses there will be progress, but it wasn't always the situation. So hence I feel the most important part for any founder or the early founding team should be not to judge yourself in a very short duration period of time. Else you will always get inspired for two things: change the course of action or change the course of business, or the second would be you will leave that business and do something else.
Okay. So we're almost towards the end of our podcast, and I'll make these questions much more native to Nepal. Like when you study India, when you study how Indian economy has grown, I remember reading this book called Maverick Effect, written by House Mehta, and he has particularly mentioned how Indian diaspora played such a big role to grow this startup economy, reinvest back to these smaller but scalable ideas, how outsourcing economy completely changed how people think about a product in India. And I feel 2025, now it's time for Nepal to go through that same phase, right? But the trend that I've seen that has really helped India is a lot of entrepreneurs became investor. These investors were earlier entrepreneurs, and then they started to invest on their disposable income back to entrepreneurs. And I think when an entrepreneur invests on another entrepreneurs, it's different when an investor who comes from a banking, or it's different when a starter accountant invests on entrepreneurs, right? And I think that's one of the key things that has really helped and shaped India. You guys have raised multiple capitals and you know more than anyone. So my question to you, this can be a very hypothetical question. When I look at the investment scene in Nepal, it's mostly driven by chartered accountants, people who come from the back, and no wrong with that. Amazing. At least somebody has to take a first call. But now, how can we expedite the process? Because now they're good entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs. How can we expedite the process where entrepreneurs start investing back into entrepreneurs so that the transfer of G is still there? The good ideas, because I think people invest in people, right? People invest in the G. So my question is very hypothetical. How can we expedite this scene back home in Nepal, where more entrepreneurs can invest their disposable income to these young entrepreneurs? Because I think with an average age of 25, Nepal Nepal needs this like anything else.
I think I don't have much view because I don't have numbers neither.
You can take a correlation of India's in the early 70s and 80s and India's in the early 2000 and India in early 2010. I think you'll be able to put it. But early 80s 90s is what Nepal is.
I think it happens automatically. The way see tomorrow.
How do we expedite it?
It's right. You have to talk
What roles
about
have government and the regulations and policies played to encourage entrepreneurship in the country?
possibly on only way I see things are such kind of investment decisions are motivated by two things. One is, let's say I have made money by building the company. I will have one motivation that okay, I should help at least 5, 10, 15 founders to build something. So giving it back to the society, that could be one motivation. Second is okay, I have made some money, so let me put 15-20% back in the same kind of industry. In there is written it's okay, not written there, so it's absolutely fine. So we have to address these two areas. Now for the community of such founders is there in Nepal, probably we can try to give them a message that okay, these are the new age companies or these are the new founders who are coming up with such kind of solutions, and there is a requirement of funding them. So can we build such kind of image in the mind of successful founders of Nepal who can put money back, or the people who are like NRIs, NRPs, sorry, क्या होगा? NRN, right? So you can create such kind of imagination in their mind. That could be one. Second is, if there are successful exits of Nepali startups or somebody bought it, some larger institutions have bought it, probably though that could be the second motivation. So I think these are the only two things which can drive the decision of this both people, the founders who have made money, who can bring capital back, for NRLs. That's what I can think of.
India became an open economy quite early compared to Nepal, right? Because of which it attract a lot of foreign investment at one point of time. Be it from NRN or NRIs or foreign investors.
Yeah.
Right. There was one trigger point because of which you can see that in the early 80s, 90s, there were some companies evolving to be big, like TCS, Infosys, etc. But in the 2000s, the number increased, and in 2010 to 20, the number exponentially increased. Right. Second thing that happened in between 2010 to 20 was the mindset of improving the ease of doing business. Startup focus. There are good policies brought by the government, tax exemptions, innovation hubs promoted by the government. Right. This encouraged people or innovators inside India and outside of India to do innovations. Once you start doing that innovation, the ecosystem starts evolving that, and people will start showing interest. Hey, I innovated this, but that person is doing something different that I could be a part of, either as an innovator or as an investor or as a promoter or anything. Ecosystem starts building like this, right? I think off lately in Nepal, the foreign investment or fund transfer to outside of Nepal has come into practice, wherein at least in the IT industry, the industry can invest outside of Nepal, right? So this is first step towards creating that liberal economy. Such kind of initiatives are required further in order to encourage innovation in the country. I think Ministry of Education has decided to segregate the Ministry of Science and Technologies from the default education ministry. This is one of the very good uh, initiative towards building a better ecosystem for the country, and I believe there will be more startup encouraging policies coming in the near future.
Just about.
That will that will definitely bolster the economy in there. There are a lot of Indian startups that have tried collaborating with institutions in Nepal and brought in innovations there. In fact, UPI is operational in both the countries. Yeah. Every time I go to Nepal, I use my UPI apps and do the payments there. There are such kind of innovations coming in through collaboration. After all, we are neighbors, right? So, uh, as one of the famous sayings is, right, you cannot change your friends, but you cannot change your neighbors, but you can always change your friends, right? So you have to make goods with neighbors. So of course, India and Nepal can work collaboratively to build that ecosystem in both the countries, and I know a lot of people are putting that effort, to make this ecosystem evolve.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it. I mean, like, tons of takeaways. And, like, a sign of a good conversation is when it makes you reflect a lot of things that you initially thought, initially did existed. And I enjoyed it. Thank you so much. And is there anything you want to say before we leave?
Oh, I think, man, had a good conversation.
Yeah, keep doing this podcast more and more so that more people come into your show and get more ideas.
Well, I've started enjoying hosting podcasts in India. Let's see how it goes. I'm really looking forward to it. And for everybody who's watching this, I mean, like, as always, we have talked about tons of ideas. As our motto goes, get inspired, become a motivator. Pick a couple of these ideas. I think ideas are just as good as actions. So pick these up, execute it. I mean, like, we'll link both of their LinkedIn below, and if you can make a good case, people reply. So leverage that, and yeah, get inspired and become a do. We'll be back again with another amazing episode. So far, I'm loving this is my first day in Bangalore. I'm like second day in Mumbai. I'm loving it, and we'll keep bringing you more episodes. Take care, bye. Awesome.